Hi, my name is Charlie Wu. I'm here today to introduce Advantech's new MIO-5270 single-board computer based on the AMD eOntario platform and its special features. Advantech's new MIO-5270 is specifically designed for small system integration. In this case, the design challenge that our designer will be facing today is the traditional heatsink cannot perform well with the compact chassis with limited airflow. What do I mean by limited airflow? For example, a compact chassis with very small airflow, such as modern kiosks where they look nice but they need to remain compact, or within the vehicle where space are limited and the airflow will also be limited, or other more stringent applications such as explosive environment like oil refinery, coal mine, gas pump, or even natural gas refuel station. In this case, there's limited or no airflow, where using a traditional heatsink will be a challenge to transfer the heat outside of the chassis. In this case, with the MIO-5270, we have two designs to help that. One, we have the heat generating component like CPU, chipset, and also the DRAM on one side. So other than the traditional heatsink for general purpose, we also have a heat spreader plate that can easily adapt all the heat generating component into one piece, and then we can use the chassis. In this case, this is one of the Advantech product as well, but this is for general sourcing idea. You can use the chassis if it's an aluminum plate with a fin to use that as a heatsink, adapted to the heat spreader plate, and then you can take the heat outside of the chassis without having to open up holes, or if there's limited airflow, you can still properly conduct the heat out of the chassis. The MIO-5270 also comes with a list of the popular I/O connection on the coastline, including the 4 USB, HDMI, VGA, dual Ethernet, and power connector. The power connector type we choose on the MIO is the barrel type power connector, where user can easily find a 12-volt DC power adapter on the market to power up the system that you're designing. Traditionally, with a single board computer, the industrial type power connection could cause interference when you're using a heat spreader plate, because after you add the additional power, when you plug in the power connector will be taller than the top surface of the heat spreader plate, and in this case, customization will be required, and that will add to the necessary time to market. Another challenge the system designer would have when designing a compact system is in case if the onboard I/O is not enough to complete their design task. Many of the embedded single board computers expansion are designed to stack on top of the single board computer. For example, the more traditional PC-104 or the newer Summit PCI-104, for example, they all go over the top of the single board computer, and that can make the thermal design more difficult, because it does not matter if you're using a traditional heatsink or using the optional heat spreader, the additional I/O module on top will make it difficult to dissipate the heat outside of the chassis. The MIO-5270 comes with a new I/O expansion called the MIO 3.0, and it has signal which have SM bus, 4 PCI by 1, 1080A, 4 USB 2.0, low pin-on bus, audio, and 12-volt power. With the MIO-5270, Advantech will offer an array of the MIO 3.0 modules to accommodate your need for additional I/O other than the one that's already offered on board. You can utilize the heat spreader. Your compact chassis is a thermal solution. And then finally, if the I/O on board is insufficient for your need, you can add an I/O module underneath the board utilizing the MIO 3.0. Of course, we understand that the I/O module may or may not fit your exact need and you might need customization, In this case, based on the MIO 3.0 pin definition, you can create your own I/O module for your specific chassis need. The MIO-5270 is a new form factor developed by Advantech and is best for your compact system design. Thank you very much.